Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, August 22nd, 2022, here for my weekly cross-stitching update. And I've got a nice little pile here for you, all of you, so let's just jump right in. One thing I kept forgetting to say, I had a customer stitch up my pattern Brutiful, which was of a coffee pot, and it's one of the ones that I made from a drawing from my niece, and she stitched it on that fun Hobby Lobby fabric that I got on clearance recently that had little daisies printed on it. So I wanted to share a picture of that because it turned out super cute. So yay, wonderful finish. So I was excited to see that and kept forgetting to share it. So you can find that in my Etsy shop along with lots of other things. Let's see, I have, I guess let's do haul first, I guess. I've been using the Bee in My Bonnet planner this past year, and it's been pretty nice. Like at first I thought it would be too big because I'm used to kind of a smaller planner, but I've been enjoying it. I have like the month spreads where I do my planning, and then the week spreads where I actually write down what I actually did. And I have like note pages in the back where I pasted in my bingo pages and all the rest of my projects and finishes and things like that, goals. So it's been nice. So they sent me another one. So I have now, comes in a little box. This is from the Fat Quarter Shop. This is the 2023 planner, and it's pink. I'm so excited. Pink is my favorite color. So I thought that was fun. They sent me another one. I had a planner on my wish list, just a random one off of Amazon. And then when I got this, I was like, oh, well, let's revamp that. So I took the planner off and put on some more stickers to decorate this one because it's been fun decorating. I just found some stickers, you know, and that's just to make it pretty. So this one is mostly the same, I think, as the old one, where it has the month spreads and the week spreads. But it looks like there's less margin, so there's more lines, the boxes are bigger on this one, so there's bigger spaces to put all your stuff, and then still some note pages in the back. So I will be enjoying that one. I believe they're available now at the Fat Quarter Shop, so that's exciting. I'm excited to use that one and continue with what's been working for me this year. So now I have giveaways. The giveaways that I had from this past video were this cross-stitch pattern, You Are the Boss of Your Own Quilt, and I don't know that I entered this in. And there are 92 unique comments with the word boss. Let's get that ad out of the way. Go away. Here we go. It'll just move it. So, Judy Stone, congratulations. She has lots to say. Trying to see where the word boss is. Oh, she likes the quilt squares in You're the Boss, and she bought the book Scrappiness is Happiness, but hasn't decided if she's gonna quilt along. So, Judy, congratulations. You get this cross-stitch pattern of quilty things. And I was told by somebody, I don't remember who, it might have been Kelly Animal Instinct or somebody else, the little mini stitch cards will actually fit in the space for one of these, so that you could also personalize it like that if you had one of those you liked it better. So that's a fun way to change it. So let's get the next keyword for this one, Citrus Summer. I believe I used the word citrus. This is another cross-stitch pattern. Citrus. And there's 53 unique comments. So let's see who gets this one. Teresa Schubert. Nice. So you get Citrus Summer. Congratulations. And then the last one was the support group pack, which has a quilt pattern, a cross-stitch pattern, and a needle minder. So that one had the word support. And as always, it's fun to see, some of you are not creative, some of you are, but it's always fun to see how you work those words in sometimes. It makes it fun to read. 7 numbers. This one had 59 unique comments. Patty Miller, congratulations. So, yay. Yeah, so last time I talked, I showed my anniversary piece as well, so I got a lot of congratulations about that also. So Patty Miller, you won the support group package, so congratulations. And the 3 of you and the next 2, hopefully, will get a hold of me with your mailing address. I'll put my email up in a minute, but I had 2 more patterns from the giveaway like 2 months ago that never got claimed, and I just kept forgetting to show them again to remind the people, but I had it in my video and I sent them a reminder, so I'm going to go ahead and redraw. So I'm going to go over to the old video 231, and put that one in and just redraw from the people that signed up for it back then. Oh, okay, so we'll do this one first, the poinsettia quilt. Which I believe was the word poinsettia. 5. Let's make sure I got something. 24 comments. Where are you? There you are. Let's see who can redraw for this one. Susan Lopiano. So hopefully, Susan, you're seeing this, and I will, if I don't hear from you in the next few days, I'll put a comment on your comment to tell you this is yours. So let me know your mailing address and I can get this in the mail to you. And then the Santa one also, sleigh ride, which the keyword was Santa, also didn't get picked up. They never contacted me with their information. So there were a lot of you who signed up for this one. And it's showing a small, only 100. That seems odd. Hopefully it's showing everybody. It says 89 comments. Still a good amount, I guess. And My Crazy Life. You win the Santa pattern. Sleigh ride. So My Crazy Life. And all the other winners, just contact me via email, stitchinmommy7@gmail.com, or you can private message me on Instagram, Etsy, Facebook, things like that. I think Instagram is probably the fastest way that I'll see a private message. So email or Instagram are the 2 best choices. But yay, let's get those sent off. And so you guys can enjoy them. So let's start in with some stitching. I did some travel stitching this week, which was nice. As always, I like to work on my Wander With Me temperature piece with the little kitty paws. There's also the Walk With Me version for dogs. This is one I'm doing for this year's temperatures, so I only do 1 or 2 paws every week, and this week was a 1 paw week, so I went ahead and added that branch in the window. This is 27 count Linda 1/1 full cross, and slow going filling in the window just because I literally have like a half hour every week on this, and I don't tend to put in more time. So if I only have to do 1 paw, that's this one right here, then I have time usually to do a little bit more on the little bits. There's a little mouse in here too that I could do as I have time, but there's progress. This little paw was only 2 colors. There's like 3 days in a row of 100, then 99, then 97. So very fast to stitch because not a lot changing. Only 1 toe is different because the 99 and the 100 were the same color. And then I did do a little bit on my butterflies. This is the one I'm doing for my anniversary year, 2002. And so I have all the colors, but I'm behind. I'm getting close to finishing up May. Maybe this week I'll finish up May. So here is this one. This is on like a mystery 32 count even weave, 1/1 full cross. And I have almost all the patches finished except for those 2 little ones in the bottom that are in the 90s. So they'll be bright orangey colors as well. So yeah, coming along. This one doesn't get pulled out quite as often, but I'll take it to like kids' dentist appointments, and if we watch shows as a family. We're watching some BattleBots Champions right now, so that's a perfect one to stitch during. I've also pulled back out year-end stitches for my car stitching, and I don't have as much time this year in the car as I did last year because everybody gets picked up rather swiftly now. But I'm working on June. I believe I have all the cross stitches finished. This is by the Victoria Sampler. You can find it on their website under the Creative Designs section. And here is mine. And here is the June section. Side by side, I'm doing mine on 28 count Dove Gray Monaco, 2/2 for all those cross stitches. So the little people are finished, I believe. Oh, not quite. I have this half of her veil still yet to backstitch, and then the white on my needle I'll go up and start to work on the specialty stitches up there, because I believe all I have left are specialty stitches. So I have these satin stitch hearts were fun. I did those while I had this pink on my needle because it was a 2-stranded need for satin stitches. And then when I was working on the birds, I came down here and did the lazy daisies down there, and the vine got put in already, but there's grass, there's stems and leaves, and then the lace up here. I think that might be everything. So it's getting close. Probably be able to finish it this week. And then I'll move over to down here, I guess, will be July. And July, they're different shapes, or different sizes. I mean, they're all the same height, but January, March are big, February was small, and then this one, the middle one, was big, and these 2 are smaller. I think this is the biggest, and these, then these, and this. There's like 3 to 4 different sizes. So this July, I believe, will be skinny. Like, not skinny. It'll be more medium-sized. It'll be like a little wider than April was, and then I think that's how it's gonna go. Because I think it goes every other. So whatever one is right here is another wide one. So yeah, so that's fun. I'm working on that. And this reminds me, somebody commented on last week's video regarding this piece and asked if I had seen their new design with the days of the week. And no, I had not. So I went over to their Facebook group, which is where this one was released last year, and checked, and sure enough, the current stitch along is for days of the week, and I had not yet seen that. When did it start? It started sometime this summer, and I just haven't been on there this summer. So that one is going through December, but they have, I think, 2.5 blocks out already, and it's kitty themed. It's perfect. So I'm thinking I'm gonna need to do that one next year for my car stitch, for kid pickup. This one is nice, having little blocks like that to do once a month. I am behind now because of the summer. I think next year will be similar to this year as far as not having quite as much time in the car to wait, because I have the same 3 school situation next year as well. And that only has 7 parts, 7 little blocks, because it's representing days of the week. I don't know that I will do it with the days of the week, like in a band sampler situation. I might wait until it all comes out and then see if there's any of them that I don't like, and then just do 6 and do a 2x3 situation on one piece of fabric. I'm not sure. I'll have to wait and see. Or I might do little squares and put them on like a flip ring thing and actually use them like a little daily calendar. I don't know. I haven't decided, but it's adorable. So I started to download those. If you like Victoria Sampler, I would encourage you to go sign up for their Facebook group. I'll link it below. And they release stitch-alongs like this that are where you pick your own colors, and they're mysteries on their Facebook group. Once they've been released completely, they leave them up for maybe a month, and then they take them down, and eventually they get put up on their website for purchase. So eventually everyone will have access to them, but for the beginning mystery section, they're only available on their Facebook group, and they are free in the Facebook group. So there's some stitch-alongs that I haven't done, but I've downloaded them, so if I feel like doing them later, I have access to them. So if you like Victoria Sampler, or you've always been interested, head on over there and check it out. So I would encourage you to do that. So I think that's my plan. I had another idea for what I might want to do in the car next year. There's some Kitty and Me Designs patterns for each month. They have quilts, they have mandalas and hearts, and the hearts one really caught my eye, and I probably will do them eventually, but I think that's too much to take on for this coming year when I don't have a huge chunk of travel stitching time. So when I saw this stitch along that only has 7 parts instead of 12, I'm like, yes, that is perfect. That's the one I want to do. So already planned. I'm so excited. So anyways, I also worked a little bit on my Frosted Pumpkin Under the Sea Club. I just realized we're nearing another part release, and I am not done yet. So this is by the Frosted Pumpkin. This is their year-long stitch along. This is also a mystery. And so all of this faded out is stuff that has not yet been released. I started to work on this most recent release, which is this part up here with this diver and all of these fish. So got a little bit because I worked on it while I talked with my sister. And then each part tends to be released on the 25th. So unless the 25th is on a weekend or a holiday. So that would be Thursday, which would be really great. So let's see. I'll show you where I'm at with this. This is a 25 count mystery blue even weave. It's like a light medium color. And I am stitching this 1/1 full cross with almost a 99% color conversion. And these waves are the only called for color. Everything else is from my stash, just similar colors, but like fancy floss versions that looked close. The rest, most of what they call for is DMC. And I did these little fishes too to try to get these placement lines I was trying to do to be able to see where everything was placed so I wouldn't get off. So there's the puffer fish are here, and then the divers up here, and there's some like, are they angelfish over here? So more to do on that one, but I got some work on it, so that's good. This is a cute one, so fun. All right, so this week I did manage to get back to Knitting Woman, and I worked on her 4 different times. So not every day, but many days. And the last day I got a color that had a lot going on, and it was a blend, and I had pulled off 2 full-length strips, lengths of thread from my bobbin, and 4 feet long, I believe, because if then you do a loop start, then it's 2 feet, which is a reasonable length. But then since it's a blend, and I knew I needed to make up some stitches because I missed the date 2 days before, I just said, I'm just gonna go with the whole thing and do the whole 4-foot blend. So I got a lot of stitches that day, 287 stitches with 1 length of thread. So this is Knitting Woman. It's by Golden Kite. And I had estimated last week I need about 100 stitches a day 100 stitches a day to finish this by the end of October. I don't think I got it. I think I got like 627 stitches, and should have been closer to 7, a little over 7. So not quite, but close. So I'm hoping to pull this out most days, and if I can, I'm gonna get at least 100 stitches. Usually I go over. I did 129, 108, 103, 287. So that's kind of what I did this week. Here is where I got to. This is 22 count Aida, 2/1 half stitches. And I did some in the sleeves. I had some brown, but I think the biggest spot was this big chunk of dark red that I did on Saturday. So you can see that coming through the side of her bodice there. Did a little bit of more details in the kitty's face, some of these colors that were in here. So as I've said, I'm picking symbols top to bottom, left to right. So, and then working them in wherever they go, and then picking the next one, top to bottom, left to right. Filling in slowly but surely. So this one still has a ways to go, and I'm hoping to still pull it out almost every day I can. Like, there's some days that I feel like I know the day's been busy, I don't want to push it, and if I work on that, I won't be able to get to whatever I've planned for the day for my main piece. So if I have a nice chunk of afternoon time and I know I'll have time in the evening, that's the perfect situation to do a little bit on Knitting Woman in the afternoon, and then I still have my evening time. So kind of play it by ear some days, which is why I didn't end up working on it Thursday or Friday, because they were just too busy to get extra time. So my main piece this past week was Mini Bird Song, which is the first Whipco full coverage piece that was drawn for August. So that's this one by Heaven and Earth Designs. Tatiana Fedorova. Here's the more close-up picture. And this one, I was trying to see, I hadn't really seen, I worked a lot right up here, and I was curious. It does look like there's like a stick or a branch going up that way. So that makes sense. Or like a piece of wheat even. But a little bit on the bird as well. So I realized when I got this out, last time I worked on it, I must have been working on stitching in the parked threads, because that made a lot of sense for why there was solid stitching on one part and scattered stitches on the other part. I was stitching in all the parked threads, transitioning away from parking. So I continued with that, and I got all the parked threads worked in. I'm so excited. So I was able to, I worked on it again on Sunday instead of Knitting Woman, because I knew I needed a few more stitches, about 100 more stitches to make my 1,000 stitch goal for Whipco. So I pulled it back out on Sunday and put in the last parked thread, tied it off, counted it up, and I was at 15 stitches short. 15. I was like, really? So I went back, pulled the next real color, which is still on my needle, and got another few stitches so that I was able to get a total of 1,013. So this is where this is at now. 40 count vertical even weave, 1/1 half cross, and this is the whole width of the design. And as I said, I was working in columns, parking in columns. You can see there are some tension lines in here. So I started here with basket weave. This is still on my needle. So I'll meet up with this with the basket weave to kind of finish up the sky, close the gap. I think I'll try to do that where I have big blocks of color in my half stitch projects from now on. But I had a bunch more part threads right here that I went ahead and stitched in, which a lot of them ended up along here, a little bit at the top of the bird. There's some white in there on the bird that got filled in. So very excited. This was fun to work on. When I first pull it out, it does look really small. And I'm like, oh, I hope I can work on this. But once I kind of put in a few stitches, it's easy to see. It gets better as like the very first stitch, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I can see this. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I can see this. And get in my groove pretty quickly. I do wear contacts. I don't have perfect vision, but I'm thankful for now I can still work on the small stuff. So I'll enjoy it while I can. So whip go goal, checked off. I need to add that to my thing in the back, which means I probably got another bingo. Where is that one? Oh, I see. Oh, well, I got one. So this one is bird song. So that means I got this. I need to cross that one off because I got that one. I need this one, or I just got this one, and I will get this one as soon as I do the next one, which I won't do until next week. So 2 bingos if I finish all my goals this week. So after that, oh, I did also work on His Name is Jesus on Thursday, which was fun, which is also kind of a bonus stitch. It's this one by the Joyful Expressions. You can get this for free when you sign up for their newsletter, and they have lots of other pretty scripture patterns, including His Name is Jesus in other languages. So if that appeals to you, they have that also. So here is this one. Still, as you can see through the back, I have some navy on my needle. This is where I got to. This is 28 count ivory Lugana, 1/1 full cross. And I am using Victorian Motto sampler shop threads. It is charted with 3 different colors of the same like tone. It's like 3 blues, 3 whatever. So I just picked 3 colors that I thought would be nice, and I'm rolling with it. So last time, so I think I added Alpha and then started Root of Jessie. So I'm still working on that one, not quite. So I'm still picking top to bottom, left to right with whichever phrase comes next. So once I finish Root of Jessie, I'll probably go over here and do whatever's right here. So yeah, so that was fun. I work on this with Desiree, the Addicted Stitcher. So she worked on this over here. I think it's I Am. So that's the one she worked on this time. So it's always fun to pull that out again and visit and stitch on that. We're kind of expecting that this will be done next year at the rate we're going. Let's see. Then I had all of my Arbitrary August picks for this week. So the first one was Spring Floral Cross. You can get all of these on the Cooler Design Studio website, as well as Everything Cross Stitch. Don't know if they're on a 1-2-3 stitch, but Everything Cross Stitch has physical patterns, and Cooler Design Studio probably has both physical and PDFs. So I have the kits of 3 of the seasons, so I'm just using the kit. I have all the all the floss, and didn't get a ton of time on these, but I did something, so that's good. This one I only did 1 length of thread, but it was backstitching those little purple flowers at the top. This is 14 count Kit Ada 2/1 full cross, and the backstitch is one strand. So I did 1 length of thread, which backstitched these little flowers here. So that's all I did. Not a lot, but it's something. And something I discovered, because somebody was asked a question of how I thought these would look with 2 strands, because they didn't really like the 3 strands that were recommended. And I was like, pretty sure mine recommends 2. So then I looked, and the kit recommends 2 strands for full crosses. But the paper copies that are more recent, that were after the kits were, you know, out of print, they released them just as patterns. The patterns recommend 3 strands. So I started the kits first, whichever one, I don't remember. It could have even been this one. Followed the directions in the kit, which said 2 strands. So I've been doing all of them with 2 strands, even though this one says 3. So if you like how mine look, you'll probably be fine. If you like a really fluffy coverage, go ahead and do 2, especially if you're sourcing your own materials. If you have the kits, don't use 3 strands because you'll probably run out. So follow the instructions on the kit and use 2 strands. But if you have a pattern and you like fluffy coverage, 3 is acceptable. I prefer 2 because it's a little, you can use a loop start, so it's easier to stitch with. And yes, the darker colors are going to have a little bit more show through on 14 count. Since you're just getting the pattern, choose a different count if that bothers you. Like you could go down to a 16 or even an 18 perhaps. There's a lot of backstitching here, but those counts would probably still be fine. So it's been okay for me. So I'm just heads up, do what you are comfortable with, but don't feel like you have to use 3 if you don't like to use 3. So here is the fall cross, which was selected by Arbitrary August for the next day. And as you can see, hopefully I worked on some sticks and wheat there at the top. This is 14 count Aida, oatmeal Aida, 2/1. So I worked on filling in some of these sticks. So all the sticks right here are stitched. There's more back stitching. And then I added in a color in those wheat stalks, which are a little harder to see, but they are back stitched, so it'll be fine. They do blend in with the fabric right now. But I did several lengths of thread, so I was actually pretty happy with that. Not a lot, but one day on everything isn't going to get a whole lot. And but it's fun to pull these out, give them a little attention. And yeah, my last one is in the beginning, is what I call it. It was from an old kit. I don't actually know the title of the original kit. This one is super cute. It's got lots of little animals. I'm doing mine on 18 count antique white Aida, 2 strands for the cross stitches and 1 for the back stitch. So here is where I got to. So you can probably see a little bit of what I did. I worked up in here, and sure enough, there were some pink and purple. These ones in the center had some purple. Pink and purple flowers up here along the top. And then I went in and worked more on the moon and stars. Didn't get that seam finished because I worked on the flowers. I think if I'd worked on just the moon and stars, I probably could have gotten it done. But I figured these are higher up. I want to make sure the border is just done. I don't have to worry about the border anymore. There's more border down here, obviously, but the top border is finished. So I added this full cross of the blue, which is the same color as this blue, only this is a 1-strand half stitch and this is a 2-strand cross. And then added the white full crosses for these stars. They don't show up really well right now, but they will be backstitched as well. And then the moon will be stitched and backstitched also. There's 2 more stars. So I like that. Had fun with that one. This is one of my oldest whips, started when I was in college, quite a while ago. All right, I did only worked on sampler of stitches for about 8 minutes. I was just distracted doing other things, and I will possibly pull it out sometime this week to try to get my hour that I should have done on Sunday, and then get another hour this coming Sunday, because I do have that one earmarked for like the monthly challenges, the year-long monthly challenges in the Daily 30 cross Facebook group. So I want to get another 2 chunks of 1 hour on that one. So I'm hoping sometime this week I can get more time on that one. So hopefully next week you'll see 2 hours worth of progress on sampler of stitches. But I didn't bring it up because there's really nothing to show. 8 minutes, like there was not a whole lot happening there. And it was cream on cream. So really, it would have been almost impossible to tell what I did. So I'll bring that next time, and hopefully I'll have something going on next time. So, oh, I didn't even bring my stuff. Okay, so this week I will work on my second Fancy Lady Whip Go project, which is Cottage Garden Fairy by Mirabilia. And I forgot to bring it up, but I'm gonna have to go down and get my Arbitrary August choices anyways. So once I get those, I'll bring everything up and show you. So let's spin the wheel, shall we? I have one more set of Arbitrary August picks for August. It's a little bittersweet because I know there's gonna be more projects on the wheel that I didn't get to, but at least I was able to get to 12. So here is my wheel, and I'm gonna do 3 more this week on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then next week, Monday through Wednesday, I'll work on my last Whip Go project for 3 days, a full coverage piece. And then I think I'll work on my letter fairy for my niece the beginning of September, just because I have been neglecting that one. And then I'll take a little break from Flosstube. That's the plan. All right, let's see my 3 picks. See what I get to work on this week. Ooh, Tapestry. That's a fun one. That's by Ink Circles. And it's a little bit autumnal in its coloring, so that'll be kind of fun since it's still very much summer here, but autumn is coming pretty soon. We're almost to September. So that'll be a fun one. I'll go pull that one. Next. Summer Floral Cross, so you get to see another cross, which I just worked on the other 2, so that's pretty funny. And the last one for this year, the winter one. I guess the wheel wanted me to work on those. So I'll do summer and winter floral crosses this week, and and Tapestry. So I'll get those 3 as well as Cottage Garden Fairy, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So my second Fancy Lady Whip Go piece is Cottage Garden Fairy. And I believe I started this last year, maybe? And honestly, I don't remember it at all. I don't remember how many days I spent on it, maybe just 1. I don't know what the fabric looks like. I don't know what I worked on. So I'm really glad to get back to this. I'm planning to spend the next 3 days on it, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and hopefully get enough of a memory of this one that I will enjoy it going forward. So I am using Dappled Hollow by Under the Sea Fabrics, 32 count Lugana, which I thought sounded great for this sort of thing. Ooh, so pretty. There's my start. So clearly what I was doing is I started in the middle, working my way to the top. So not a lot to see, but there's my starting point on this gorgeous fabric, which is aquas, greens, purples. It's showing up pretty true, maybe a little richer in person, but yeah, so there's my start. 2/2 full cross for everything. All right, so let's, maybe it'll be a little more recognizable when I'm done with it for these 3 days. So hopefully I'll get a decent amount of time on it the next few days. So the first thing I drew for Arbitrary August is Tapestry by Ink Circles. And this is a fun one. And right around the time that I got this, Victorian Motto came out with a thread pack for Eliza Bell Cox, a sampler by, I think, Hands Across the Sea. And I had no interest in doing the sampler, but the threads she was putting out for it were super pretty. So I was like, oh, that'd be a really nice thread pack. I don't have any use for it. And then I saw this pattern and I was like, maybe I should get that pattern and use those threads. So that's exactly what I did. I made the conversion using mostly threads from the Eliza Bell Cox sampler. There is a couple changes from other Victorian Motto threads that I already had when I was part of the monthly thread club, which has been a little while now since I was a part of that. But I think it turned out really nice. So this is where I'm starting on Tapestry. Let's see, what is this? I think this is 28 count Ivory Jobelin, 1/1 full cross. So it's nice and small. And I believe, like, I started in the center, but then the last few times I've worked up, this is the top of the design, and I'm working over, and I don't know exactly where the corner is. Let's see, I'm not quite there, yeah. So I've got a little bit more to go. This corner motif maybe is what I'll work on. So I can, you know, I'll probably end up doing my top down situation because I roll it from the bottom. It is the nicest for me to work from the top down so that I'm not handling this stuff as much. So I'll probably work on this motif this time around, and the next time I pull it out, I'll head this way and do the top down. But it is really cute. Not an overwhelming amount of color changes. It seems to be just a nice medium. Enough color changes to make it interesting, but still blocks of color. So pretty nice one. So I'll work on that on Thursday. Again, one day, I don't know how much I'll get done, but we'll see. And then I believe it was Summer Cross was first. So that's the one I'll do on Friday. Again, this is the Janlin kit, and this kit came with white fabric, so 14 count. I'm doing all of them on the called for kit fabric, which was all 14 count, but it was different colors. So when I went to kit up the autumn one, the fall one, with my own fabric, I knew I wanted 14 to match the other ones, but I went with oatmeal on that one because I figured that was nice and autumnal. So this one has a very small start as well, similar to the fall one, where I started in the middle and worked up, did a little bit of the lettering. Right now I'm not feeling the letters. I know the last time I worked on these I wanted to do a lot of letters, but I think this top row is not done yet. But I think regardless, I'm going to work up here in like the top sticks and things like I did on the fall one. I feel like I'm feeling cross-stitchy right now. So there's my starting point on summer floral cross. And again, these you can still find. The kits are not readily available, although potentially you could find them on eBay. But you can find the patterns online pretty easily now. So, and this is the winter one, which is on light green, which is super fun. So again, a very similar amount started. This one's a little more. Got a lot of those words done last time and some of the holly at the top. So I will continue to fill this area in and see what I can get done on that on Saturday. So Saturday tends to be my best day lately for cross-stitching the last few weeks. But it doesn't necessarily mean I'll get a lot on my Arbitrary August piece because I might want to have like a makeup day for something else that I didn't get a lot done on. So like sampler of stitches or knitting woman or something. So I will do what I can on those ones and hopefully that'll work out nicely. And then hopefully I'll get sampler of stitches time on Sunday and possibly another hour somewhere in the week in addition to that to make up for what I didn't get to do this past Sunday. So that's my plan. And I hope you enjoyed that, and whatever you're working on this week, hopefully that is enjoyable to you as well. And I will plan to come back next week, and happy stitching. Bye.